Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam Stutis series, continuing with the Rudra Gita, Shloka number 43, chapter 24, canto 4. Shaktitraya sametaya
Shaktitraya sametaya
Midhushe hankritatmane
Midhushe hankrutatmane
Cheta akuti rupaya
Cheta aputirupaya
Namo vacho vibhutaye.
Namo vacho vibhutaye.
Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shaktitraya,
Shaktitraya,
three kinds of energies.
three kinds of energy.
Sametaya,
Sametaya,
unto the reservoir.
onto the reservoir.
Midhushe,
Midhushe,
unto Rudra.
onto Rudra.
Ahankrita Atmane,
Ahankruta Atmane,
the source of egotism.
the source of egotism.
Chetaha,
Chetaha,
knowledge.
knowledge.
Akuti,
Akuti,
eagerness to work.
eagerness to work.
Rupaya,
Rupaya,
unto the form of.
onto the form of.
Namaha,
Namaha,
my obeisances.
my obeisances.
Vachaha,
Vachaha,
unto the sound.
onto the sound.
Vibhutaye,
Vibhutaye,
unto the different types of opulences.
onto the different types of opulences.
Translation, my dear Lord,
My dear Lord,
you are the supreme controller of the worker,
you are the supreme controller of the worker,
sense activities,
sense activities,
and results of sense activities, karma.
and results of sense activities, karma.
Therefore, you are the controller of the body,
Therefore, you are the controller of the body,
mind, and senses.
mind, and senses.
You are also the supreme controller of egotism,
You are also the supreme controller of egotism,
known as Rudra.
known as Rudra.
You are the source of knowledge
You are the source of knowledge
and the activities of the Vedic injunctions.
and the activities of the Vedic injunctions.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Everyone acts under the dictation of the ego. Therefore, Lord Shiva is trying to purify false egotism through the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since Lord Shiva or Rudra is himself the controller of egotism, he indirectly wants to be purified by the mercy of the Lord so that his real egotism can be awakened. Of course, Lord Rudra is always spiritually awake, but for our benefit, he is praying in this way. So when you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is an explanation that Lord Shiva is the master of the false ego. That when the Jivatma has to come into the material world, Lord Shiva has to cover the Jivatma with false ego. Otherwise, the Jivatma will not be able to, interact with Maya Devi and come under the influence of Maya. So that final covering of false ego is given to us by Lord Shiva. So, but we have to remember that we need the mercy of Lord Shiva himself to get rid of this false ego and to take firm steps in the path of devotion to Lord Krishna. So if we want the shelter and if we want to get bhakti, Krishna bhakti, we need Lord Shiva's assistance there, because he is also the one who can introduce you to Krishna consciousness, and he is also the one who can release you from the clutches of the false ego. So Shiva himself, as Prabhupada explains here, is in a purified state of consciousness. Just because he represents the false ego covering does not mean that Lord Shiva himself is under the influence of false ego. He's not. That is why Prabhupada is saying, of course, Lord Rudra is always spiritually awake, but for our benefit, he is praying in this way. For the impersonalists, pure egotism is aham brahmasmi. I am not this body, I am spirit soul. In the sense, Their realization for the Brahmavadi stops there. Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit soul. But in its actual position, the spirit soul has devotional activities to perform. So for the Vaishnavas, it's Jivere Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. For us, our position is that I am always the servant of Krishna. Therefore, I am meant to serve Krishna. We don't stop at Aham Brahmasmi. Actually, we don't even begin with Aham Brahmasmi. We have a basic understanding that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. But we move beyond that to say, I am a servant of Krishna and therefore I have to offer my services to Krishna in the form of bhakti, devotional service, as Prabhupada translates it. But in its actual position, the spirit soul has devotional activities to perform. Therefore, Lord Shiva prays to be engaged both in mind and in action in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord, according to the direction of the Vedas. This is the process of purifying false egotism. Chetaha means knowledge. Without perfect knowledge, one cannot act perfectly. The real source of knowledge is the vachaha or sound vibration given by Vedic instructions. Here, the word vachaha or vibration means the Vedic vibration. The origin of creation is sound vibration. And if the sound vibration is clear and purified, perfect knowledge and perfect activities actually become manifest. This is enacted by the chanting of the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thus Lord Shiva is praying again and again for the purification of the body, mind, and activities through the purification of knowledge and action under the pure directions of the Vedas. Lord Shiva prays to the Supreme Personality of Godhead so that his mind, senses, and words will all turn towards devotional activities only. I also want to reference a conversation that Srila Prabhupada had. I think it was in Mauritius. In 1975, Prabhupada was in Mauritius. And there is a gentleman who was speaking to Srila Prabhupada. And he asks, Swamiji, is Shiva not another name of God? And Prabhupada said, yes. Shiva is next to God, just like yogurt or dahi. Do you know what is dahi? Prabhupada asks him. And do you know what is milk? Dahi and milk are not the same, but dahi can be produced from changing the characteristics of the milk. So then Prabhupada makes this statement. Similarly, Lord Shiva is nothing but Vishnu, but it is not Vishnu. Is it clear now? He says. You can say that dahi is nothing but milk, but it is not milk. In the sense Prabhupada would then explain, if you are a cook and you have to follow certain recipes, you can't replace milk with dahi. The item may not come out that well. The taste would be very different. So even though dahi is coming from milk, and you could say dahi is of the milk, but you need to understand that milk is milk and dahi is dahi. So then Prabhupada says, Lord Shiva is non-different from the Supreme Lord. And then he says, everyone is non-different from the Supreme Lord, but he's still different. This is the perfect philosophy, achintya, bheda, abheda, simultaneously one and different. So then the man continues to push Prabhupada on this topic. He says, but Swamiji, in all the temples in Mauritius, the supreme deity, and Prabhupada interrupts him and says, the supreme deity is Vishnu. But the man continues, he says, no, we consider Lord Shiva to be the supreme deity. And then Prabhupada interrupts him and he says, but that is the lack of your knowledge. I have already explained that yogurt is not different from milk. It is milk, but still it is not milk. So Lord Shiva is not different from Lord Vishnu, but still he's not Vishnu. And then the man says, oh, but we offer prayers to Lord Shiva first before we worship Lord Vishnu. And Prabhupada says, that you do, there is no harm. Lord Shiva is also called Mahadeva. Amongst the Devatas, he is the chief. So if you worship Lord Shiva, and Prabhupada says, we also worship Lord Shiva. It is not that we disrespect Shiva, we offer our utmost respect to Lord Shiva, but that does not mean that he is the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada says there is no harm if you pray to Shiva first before you pray to Krishna. But you should understand who is Shiva and who is Vishnu. So if you offer your first prayer to Lord Shiva, Prabhupada says there's no harm, it is good. And then Prabhupada says, Vaishnavanam yatha Shambho. He is our spiritual master. He is the Vaishnava. Why not first offer respects to him? But if you take Lord Shiva as the supreme, then you are insulting Lord Shiva himself. So Prabhupada is saying, so let us say I am your spiritual master, but you overestimate me and call me the king of the whole world. That's an insult. That is not a prayer. That is not a glorification. If you glorify me as I am, as it is befitting my current position, Prabhupada says, then it is all right. But if you glorify me to be something that I am not, then Prabhupada says that is not very befitting. That is an insult. Hence, Prabhupada explains to that gentleman that worshipping and honoring Shiva is perfectly fine because he is the greatest devotee. But he is the number one Devata. But if you call the Devata as the God, then he will feel insulted. So don't insult Shiva in that way by calling him the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is very, very important for us to understand. In this way, here Prabhupada is saying that's exactly what Lord Shiva is also saying. He is saying, my dear Lord, please also remove all of this from me so that I can be always dovetailed in activities worshipping you. Because after all, the Lord is the source of knowledge and he is the source of all of the activities that we are instructed to follow in the Vedic scriptures. He is the controller of the body, mind, and senses, which means he is also the controller of Rudra. Rudra, the word Ishvara, Prabhupada explains, means controller. We are all controllers in some small sense. No? We are trying to control our activities. We are trying to control our family. We are trying to control our nation, etc. In that way, we are all tiny little Ishvaras. Similarly, Lord Shiva is also an Ishvara, but he is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hence, Lord Shiva is saying, you are also the supreme controller of egotism, known as Rudra. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.